English. Time for speaking English.
I find myself
Focus.
trying to say
Yeah.
Japanese things all day. I'll be thinking to myself, and I'll be like, how would I say this?
ある
Tanjun janai.
日本語。
Daruma no Ouchi episode. We've forgotten. We've lost count.
I
Does
think episode
I
3. I think no.
I don't know.
We don't know. Nobody knows that.
It
Oh.
doesn't matter. It's just
Yeah, it doesn't
Daruma's
matter, yeah.
house.
Okay.
Today we're just talking about how we got kind of interested in each other's countries. So I guess one thing to ask quickly first would be, are you interested in England or just English speaking countries? So is it just the UK, or is it Australia and America and the UK? Or I think, Koichi, you're probably like all of Europe.
He's a traveler.
Yeah, for me, no, I'm interested in the West, but particularly I'm interested in the UK because I was in the UK. So yeah, that's my opinion. What about you, Taro?
I think Jordan's question was like, how were you interested in England before you were to the UK? I guess.
Is it,
Yeah.
So why did you decide to study abroad in
I
England?
see.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't choose because there's a program to abroad to the England. That's why I went there, and that's it. So yeah.
You don't care about England, right?
And before the
well, we don't
abroad,
care about
I
Japan.
didn't, yeah. Yeah, before the abroad, I didn't care about the UK, but now I'm so much care about the UK.
You are maybe the only person who has gone from not caring about the UK and has then visited the UK and then started caring. Most people think the UK is interesting, and then they come here and realize it's a shithole, and then go, I'm never going there again.
I don't think so. What about you, Taro?
Before I went to the UK, I was quite interested in the Beatles.
This is very, very common.
Liverpool in England. And then another one is I support Arsenal, which is a football team in England Premier League. So yeah,
I
went to the UK.
How did you become interested in football?
Because I used to play.
But most people who would. What do you mean when you used to play? Did you play just at high school and really enjoyed it, or?
Yeah, I used to play. I have been playing football like maybe I don't remember, but like from 6 to now, so maybe it's been like more than 15 years. I have been playing football, so that's why I was interested in.
Did somebody introduce you to sort of foreign football, like the UEFA League and stuff outside of Japan? Because I would imagine most people would kind of go, oh, I like football, and then they would find out about Japanese teams, and then maybe later on they would find out about European teams. But did you have like a parent or a friend who was into it, and then they introduced you?
Yeah, I've got some friends who are quite interested in English or like European football as well, but I personally watched the final of the Champions League, Barcelona against Arsenal, and I watched Arsenal play, so they won against Barcelona, and yeah, there was a quite like I think it's one of the greatest night for Arsenal fans, I think. Yeah, so that's why I started to sport and started to watch English football.
As I'm sure you know, sort of in the UK, the team you support is a very it's a big factor in who you are in a lot of ways. So if you go to a new company or meet new friends, you'll almost always be asked, "Oh, what team do you support?" And then if you
Yeah.
you can say, "Oh, I support Everton," and then somebody from the other end of the office will go, "Wanker," and they'll support Liverpool. Or, there's always jokes and banter about what team you support.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
People, I think, though, tend to be quite open about what team you do support. The interesting question is, which team do you hate?
My personal question.
Which team do you always want to lose? So I always want Liverpool to lose, no matter what. if
I don't
I'm
want.
being sat in front of football, Liverpool has to lose because one of my ex-girlfriends supported Liverpool. So worst team.
It's so funny.
I personally really, really hate. I don't even want to say the name of the team, but I would say Tottenham. Yeah. They have headquarters like home stadium, same North London.
Oh, what
So
team? Sorry.
it's only like Tottenham Hotspurs.
Tottenham. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's only like 5 or maybe 3 minutes by train to Arsenal Stadium. From Arsenal Stadium to Swan Stadium. So we've got always some like it's a quick like huge battle. So yeah, I really hate that.
Do you know where the name Arsenal comes from? Most teams are
Yeah,
named after like a city, but Arsenal
Mm.
isn't.
Yeah, it's quite difficult to express in English, but I will try it. So I think
Go
the
for it.
founder of one of the like 11 people of the founder of Arsenal used to work at Arsenal. I mean, like the factory of military.
Yeah, you're dead on. You're just right.
Does it make sense in
Yeah, it
English?
makes sense. You are correct.
Yay!
There's a few teams like that, but most are named after places. I'm surprised neither of you said Harry Potter because
Harry Potter.
most people who most Asian people, I think, or just foreign people in general, if you ask them like, what do you know about the UK? It's all Harry Potter.
I forgot
I have
about
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
at all.
You've never
yeah.
watched it? I think I've watched
What did
Yeah.
you
them
say?
once, maybe. But I mean, you've both been to York, and on York there's the Shambles and the shop that shall not be named. Yeah, and it's just
Yeah.
always a
yeah.
massive queue of Asian
Exactly.
tourists. I think you can both guess quite easily how I would have become interested in Japan.
It is an easy question.
Easy guess. One word.
Anime.
Yeah, literally.
So
I think
I really want to know how did you start to watch anime? So
um
why did you start to?
so this answer will probably be true for almost every person in the UK who cares about Japan. At least everybody about my age. But whatever. So when I was like 10 or 11 or 12, around that age, so just at the start of high school, I visited the art museum in Manchester with my grandmother. And that museum is now, I think, a football museum, but it used to be an art museum. And it was pretty boring for like a 10-year-old kid to go around. But they had they had a section for Japanese art. And most of that was also pretty boring to a kid because it's all the wood carvings and people committing seppuku. But anyway, so they had one bit which was for Japanese films. And so I went in there and they weren't showing any Japanese films. They were showing the first episode of Naruto. And when you're like a 10-year-old kid, the first episode of Naruto is the coolest shit. I went in there, I sat down, and I just watched this, and I was like, "Holy crap, that is amazing!" You know the bit where
Speak. What
Uh,
does be cool shit?
you know that bit in the first episode where what's Naruto's sensei called? Not Kakashi, the guy before Kakashi.
Iruka.
Iruka. He gets hit with the giant shuriken in his back, and it's just, oh my
Yeah.
God, nothing. So as in the UK, we did have a few Japanese shows. So we had like Pokemon, and we had Yu-Gi-Oh, and a few other things. But most kids didn't really realize that they were Japanese because they're dubbed. We were just like, it's TV. Like, didn't realize it was
Yeah.
Japanese. But yeah, watching that first episode of Naruto as a young kid, I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. And so I bought in the gift shop. They were selling like a book of how to draw anime. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get this and learn how to draw all this cool shit I just saw. I'm surprised that anybody sold this book because at the back of it, there are all these bits of drawing like chibi styles and different manga styles, and then in the back there was a bit on hentai, and I was like, I was 10 and didn't even know what that was. But then all of a sudden, this book is like, oh, well, some people draw manga for rude purposes. Some people like to make ero manga. I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, so I found that, started drawing, and then that was about it. Just found new things to watch on YouTube, and yeah, not much more than that. And I think most people in the UK don't care about Japan outside of anime and manga. Some people really care about Japanese girls or like J-pop and idols and stuff, but that's not nearly as common as anime and manga. I don't watch nearly as much as a lot of people might, or I don't think I'm that obsessive about it. I didn't really become interested in Japan until I met you two. When you came over and I started learning things there, it was like, oh, okay, maybe there's something more interesting to it than just Chinese cartoons.
I see.
Do you wish more people would care about Japan for more than just anime? And it tends to be in the Western world, all we really know about Japan is anime and then just stereotypes. We have all these like kind of like fake images in our heads of what it's like in Japan that just aren't really true. Do you wish that was different, or do you not care, or do you kind of, if somebody told me that they thought the UK was all castles and people riding horses, I would be like, yeah, sick. So I feel like if I was Japanese and somebody said to me, "Oh yeah, everybody goes to the temple and wears geta around, and everybody's always in a kimono," I'd be like, "Yeah, it's awesome."
I think not Japanese people always interested in Japanese food and culture. We have some quite popular foods in the world. Even you are in England, you can eat sushi or something else. You can eat Japanese food. So I think it would be one of the reasons.
What about you, Koichi? What do you think about what people think about Japan on the world stage?
そうやな。
めちゃめちゃ日本語や。
Yeah, like
Samurai.
Exactly, yeah, samurai. Now that you mentioned that,
Samurai.
I read the first Japanese person to go to America in the 1800s, maybe. So yeah, the first Japanese person to go to America. I read some of his diary, and he was like, "Yeah." So we got off in not California, the other side. So I think they might have arrived in New York or somewhere near there. So they arrived, and he says, "Oh, we were dressed in our ceremonial clothes of, a samurai dress and two swords." And I'm like, you turning up to America with 50 Japanese people all carrying two swords. The American people, they still dress back then, like we do now, they would have been in suits and hats and things. It must have been so strange. And I think you can see how sort of that image would persist.
Mm.
Something I wish more people appreciated about Japan is the cinema. Not anime, but actual films. Because Hollywood, it just pumps out the same shit over and over again. It just does. It does.
Yeah, okay.
And
You say so.
well, I think so. It's very much a machine, but some of the coolest films I have ever seen have been Japanese films, like small independent films, because the industry isn't as big and there's not as much money riding on it. It feels like you can take more risks. So one of my favorite films is called Branded to Kill, which is a Japanese film, and the director and the writer was just like making up dialogue the same day it was being filmed, and like actually writing the script on paper and then having to hand it out to people at the same time he's coming up with all the shots. And it's really, really a crazy film. And I've mentioned in previous episodes where I was at the Altrincham Film Society watching their season of Japanese films, and the amount of times where people would say like, "Oh, I've never seen anything like this for these Japanese films." Kabuki theater. I think it's called Kabuki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we know. Yeah.
There was one film which was based on Kabuki theater, and every single shot had like a stage set built for it. So there was no outside filming. It was all done inside. So all the grass was fake and all the hills were fake and all the trees were fake. But because they were filming in a small amount of space, if you wanted to have a mountain in the distance, it had to be quite close to the camera. So you would make a small mountain and then you'd position it right, and everything would be shot from the same angle, and you'd have this big fake sort of thing made as if you were on stage. But because it's a film, there's more cuts and more angles, and so there were countless of these, all handmade, and it was beautiful. And I've never seen any amount of effort put into that. And if it was sort of a modern film these days, it would just be CGI or something, or they would film on location, and countless different approaches taken. And I do wish that not just Japanese films, but foreign films in general were cared about more, at least in the Western world. If it's not in English, we don't watch it. I watched a Spanish film with a friend recently, and he was like, "Oh, can we just put the dub on, please? I don't want to. I don't want to have to read the Spanish subtitles." It's like, "Oh, fine." Do you know the film Parasite? I don't know if it'll have a
it's
different.
from Korea.
Yeah, the Korean film.
Yeah.
That's like the
Korean
first
film,
film in quite a while which has managed to be popular overseas despite being a foreign film. So I do wish there was a lot more of that. It seems as well like a lot of Japanese culture gets kind of rebranded for the West, so we appreciate it less. Before I was talking about like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, and the companies that did that for English children, they changed so much in tiny ways that you wouldn't realize. So like in Pokemon, all the food, even though they were eating rice balls, what's the word for it?
Onigiri.
Yeah, onigiri. They were eating onigiri, but there's a classic joke where Brock goes, "Ah, enjoy your jelly donut," and then Ash bites into onigiri, and it's it's not a donut, but exactly your face just like summed it up. Yeah, like things like that. Well, or they would cut bits out and whatever to make it seem like it's American. Like I said, most kids didn't realize it. But we do the same with like Transformers is a Japanese toy brand, and then the Hollywood films are just awful. And same thing with Godzilla, or Gojira.
I like that.
You like the new Gojira films? or the
No,
Transformers
I
ones?
like the Transformers one. Yeah, I love that. But
Is it a
not
Japanese film?
not the latest one. The first one.
The first one.
Is it
Yeah,
is
it's
it a
okay.
Japanese film?
No, it's an American film, but
Yeah,
based on a
American.
Japanese product.
Well, okay.
So that we have a lot of that where it's just kind of like we'll take what is Japanese and then we
Why
rebrand
you
it.
don't like
for-
that Transform? Yeah, okay.
It's okay. It's all right. It's the same as
Okay,
every
yeah.
Hollywood film. It's exactly the same. Just this time the hero is a robot
know
instead of
that,
something
yeah.
else.
Okay, what is the most favorite Hollywood movie for you?
For me,
Yeah, for you.
Hollywood film.
Please.
I
think you told me Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was
Yeah, I liked it.
great.
I liked it. I wouldn't say it's my favorite. Drive, probably from Hollywood.
Drive.
Yeah, Drive with Ryan Gosling. One thing that did come out recently, which is another rebranding of a Japanese thing, is Alita.
Alita.
Yeah, Alita. So it's based on Battle Angel Alita by Yukito Kishiro.
I don't know that. I've never heard of
Yeah,
that.
I don't know at all. So.
Oh, and also another movie was based on Japanese manga, which is called. Do you know All You Need Is Kill? That's the name of the movie, and it is based
Yeah.
on. I like that.
I think
But
All
you
You Need
told
Is
me
Kill is
you
a
don't like-
different title. The Japanese
maybe
title is different.
something Age of. But I forgot. Tomorrow Edge or
Yeah, Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. Sorry, yeah.
I've not
That's
actually
the
seen it. I'm just not interested in seeing it.
name.
The Japanese title is Ganmu for Battle Angel Alita.
Maybe it's not famous.
It's not super famous, no, but it was a manga and it did have an anime, but it came out in like the early 90s, I think. And it was just like, Steven Spielberg. He did E.T. and Indiana Jones and Terminator. He was a big fan of it for some reason. So he was like, yeah, I'm going to use all my money to go make a manga adaptation.